James Clem, how's my buddy? Man, you're looking good. What do you do in the morning to make yourself look so good? What's up?
I take a walk and I think about positive things. I do what my dad said. He says, when you take a walk, think of 5 things you're really grateful for. And you know what I'm really grateful for today? I'm grateful for the fact that maybe I'm struggling with the shutdown because it's a new hiccup that I didn't realize I had, and I'm developing mindsets to work through this. I get to go with my dog. It pumps the energy, the oxygen a little bit. And, that's when I do my prayer to God and thank him for life and the blessings that we have. And even when things are down, I want to be like St. Paul, where he can be content in all circumstances. And believe me, this brought up a new chapter to work on. How about you, Todd? How you doing?
Well, on that thought process, I am finding that this many weeks out of a new routine, I'm developing routines that aren't real. Like sleeping in is an easy one. Now I'm finding myself I'm waking up an hour later, which that can be solved. But I'm in different patterns now that I know are not real, and I can't stay in those same patterns. And so I'm psychologically trying to coach myself out of those patterns. And one of them, I know this sounds silly, but one of them is I've been riding my motorcycle to work every day. Whenever we do these videos, I haul butt down on here because there's nobody's on the road, and I'm driving 75 on a road that's like 55 there because there's no cops. Isn't that right? As you're driving around your neighborhood, people are driving so fast because there's nobody on the road.
Hey, you're driving a German bike, so you can let that thing haul.
So that's a habit that I need to get out of really fast because Texas is opening up here on, basically Monday. So
where you're going to lead us. You know what, Todd? I think, this is going to be great because we can do a series on what you guys are doing at the office, through your PPE and the way you're connecting and your conversations that will help the rest of the nation out. See, there's a reason why we connected with Texas.
That's right, because we're
and the Dr. Ehrlich family, and we're going to learn more about that today.
Well, we're cowboys. Let us figure it all out, and then you guys can follow. That's good enough.
Hey,
but
I ordered my shirt that has the little pearl buttons.
Did you get pearl snaps?
Well, this has a zipper. This is what in California, it's all about the zipper.
and like a sweater vest. I don't know. I think I'd get beat up if I was walking around downtown Austin in a sweater vest.
Well, I just will make sure I'm not worried when I'm there.
Hey, James, you got some thoughts for us today?
I do. I'm inspired by my walk, and this is a book that I have in my library. I have a lot of books that talk about setting your mind up. And as a kid, I did a demonstration in, I think, 5th grade about Thomas Edison. And I was really intrigued about the light. Building my own light was so huge. And he failed a lot. He failed a lot before he got that light bulb that changed the world and changes the way we live. And it's a little short quote, but I think it's very poignant for us today. If we did all the things we are capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. And I have to thank you, Todd, because 4 weeks ago we weren't even talking about doing this. And, we looked at each other and going, we got to do it. And now it's changing our lives. It's changing our connection. And there's so much out there that we can do. And sometimes when things change, and even though it may not be a positive thing for you, you can pivot, take a mindset, and it all comes about being a blessing for others. And that's why we're doing this. We want to be a blessing for our viewing audience, but it's also been a blessing for me, Todd. And as I told you yesterday, I'm not getting tired of you. And were you able to process that yesterday and put that gentle little thought in your heart?
You're not a very good liar. You're not a good liar at all.
Did you sleep on it a little bit, and you woke up with a warm, gushy feeling like I'm loved?
You're making me blush. Look at my face. Look how red it is. You're making me blush, my friend. You're good. You're a good man for sure. There's a lot of people in this industry that's really struggling, and you and I being dentists, we're focused kind of on our business and our leadership role and everything. And part of what we were planning on our video series is taking leaders in dentistry and having them tell their stories on what they're doing with their teams, their family, themselves to come through this in a positive light. And it's really easy to forget that there's other people in this industry impacted on all this. There's the salespeople, the dental manufacturer reps, the hygienists, the assistants. And we really want to know more what their perspective is. And so who better but these two stars here? We've got Juley Varney and my boss, Cindy Butler Barbee.
Man, I'm glad you haven't forgotten that.
Very good.
I'm starting to get worried. I was going to have to start all the way back over.
I haven't been bossed around. I haven't been bossed around for like 6 weeks. This should be fun for the next segment.
I know you're going to be hearing my voice too. So
who doesn't like hearing your voice though?
I think him and Dr. Clem put the captions at the bottom so everyone would be able to understand me.
Yeah, we have to. We have the Lower Alabama, Northern Florida translating Google system on right now, so you're good. You're good to go.
Well, you know, Cindy, that Alabama little accent there, that's where my mother grew up. And I love my mom. And I'm not saying you're my mom, but that language that you convey warms me.
We can be fussing, but we just do it so sweetly.
I have another name for you. Joy factor.
Well, I'll take that.
So, Juley Varney.
And Juley, I can't leave Juley out.
Yeah.
Juley, you're the energy factor.
Perfect. I hope so. We have to be. We're a little, we're missing our chair side right now, and we usually run around like chickens with our heads cut off, and now we're kind of staying home. And I've been watching Cindy's videos on the river, and I'm like, boy, we still have yucky weather here in New York. I'm like, I'll just live vicariously through her.
Now, Juley, so what are you? Where do you live? I don't know your location.
I am in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
The heart of New York. Upstate, the real upstate people, not just outside of New York City. I'm in right in the center of New York. I'm in a practice 3 days a week, about an hour from my house. I'm sure my boss, he was pretty flattered that I was going to be on with you two because he looks up to you guys.
Oh, cool.
So I've been a dental assistant for almost 29 years. Yes, I'm that old. But love everything about it.
You're looking good.
You're looking great.
And I just want to help others in the dental assistant community be better and understand that their role matters, and that we're just as important as the dentist, as the hygienist, as the front office. It's a whole team effort. So it really is important, especially during this time, to just be a positive light for others,
And so tell the audience a little bit about what you're doing. You've got your Dental Assistants Rocks, and how are you being a leader in this to your colleagues? What is the message you're trying to portray to them?
We're, just trying to be a supportive leg, somebody they can lean on, that they might, their family might not understand dentistry. They don't work in it. They don't understand. They really need a support system that is in dentistry. Rhonda and I, we are holding podcasts and webinars, trying to be more positive on Instagram with them, and just, show them that at this time we need to take and develop ourselves as individuals. We need to do more reading, more learning, do all the things that we always said we didn't have time for.
Right.
Just so when we get back to our practices, we can be the best leader for our doctors, because they've been out of the work unless they're seeing emergencies, but they're really not used to it. So they're going to need some grooming to get back into the flow of things and how things are going to go. And it's because it's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
I'll have to tell Dr. Ehrlich which hand to put his handpiece in. Wrong hand.
Hey, I've been practicing. I got the dentiforms in our training room, so I've been pretending that we're working on patients. I'll have to rethink. I'll have to read the local anesthesia book again. So do the anesthetic. So, Juley, what kind of things are you telling your colleagues to get through this? And then second question is, what do you think the flow will be for when you guys do your big comeback?
I've been telling them that, there's been a lot of issues with, unemployment, and money issue. Money is the big concern. And the thing is, I want to reiterate to them is that while we're affected, our bosses, our dentists, have a whole bigger financial aspect of it all. I mean, they could lose it all if we don't put proper things into place. And I helped my boss, with the PPP and getting it financially stable so that we could have something to come back to. And this is what a lot of, assistants, we need to understand that it's a financial aspect and burden, and we do need to be more positive about it. And how can we help our dentists get through it? What can we do as dental assistants to help you get through it? Instead of complaining or blowing up, other phones and when am I coming back and things. So it's just, we have to everybody is involved in this. It's just not one person. And you can, you have built a practice your whole entire life, whether you're an assistant that's been there one day or 15 years, you could lose it tomorrow. Yeah. And then we'd be out of a job. So how can we help you not lose it? So we just have to be a little bit more empathetic and understanding that if we can't come back to work right now and we have to stay home, it's okay. So things we're going to do, the way we triage inpatients, the reception area, I became a authorized respirator fit tester, so I can fit test my staff and my team for the N95 for certain procedures. Our hygienists have been off since March 17th. They've been super, super awesome, and they cannot wait to get back to work. I can't say enough about the two. They are in the same community. We're the only dentist in about a 20-mile radius. So we're going to have to be adaptable to their lifestyles because I don't think their kids are going to go back to school, and they have nobody to watch their kids. So they're going to have to job share for a while. We're going to have to take cautions for our PPE and just practice what the CDC says and those guidelines and not complain about it. Take a little bit more time. Our patients have been wonderful. They've, we've had some emergencies, but they've been really like, when are you going to open up? When can I get my teeth cleaned? I don't think there's that fear factor with our patients like a lot of people said there is. So it's been very enlightening because, my boss, he loves to work and he loves dentistry like you two do. And it's a little bit of a change for him. He's like, it's like being grounded and you can't go anywhere and you have all this time. What do you do with yourself?
And Cindy, what do you think is going to happen in our part of Austin, Texas?
I feel really good about things actually because of where we're located. And kind of from what I've read, I think it's kind of regional with how people view the virus itself and what we're doing every day. So we had our meeting with all of our team yesterday, and Hallie said all the patients have been great, which I kind of figured there would be a few that have some concerns. I think the older population is a little more worried about it, but I think our patients, what I love about our patients is the full trust that they have in us. And so I know that when we go back, they're trusting that we have what we need in order and that we're going to protect them to the best that we can. And we just have that relationship with our patients. And so I'm thankful for the way that we practiced anyway, because we see one patient at a time. And, we really don't have this, we've got a big office, but we don't just run the patients in and out. So I think it's our slow open that we're going to do. I feel like it's going to be probably more to kind of benefit us and to kind of get us back into the swing of things. It's going to help the patients as well, but we've always practiced that way. And so I feel really good about that part of things. And then also being in a digital office, one visit dentistry is going to be where it's at right now because you want to not bring the patients in multiple times. You want to, if you're doing quadrant dentistry, more than one tooth at a time, and you're able to do that in one visit, we're already ahead. So I'm very thankful, and I feel good about that part of it for sure.
Yeah, James, what do you think? We've talked about this in other videos. What do you think of, so we all have similar practices. We kind of see one patient at a time. We're not really jumping room to room. How do you think the practice? Yeah. So what do you think the practices are going to do that don't have the luxury of what we're doing?
I really appreciate the comments here with Juley and Cindy about this process of trust Patients trust us already. We've spoken about perception, but I know I was speaking with my team just yesterday, and they're so encouraging. Both of them are just Juley, they are saying what you're saying, is that we want to keep this business vital for your sake and also for the sake of our clients. And I really that really means a lot to me. And I thanks for bringing that out, Juley and Cindy. I really appreciate that. But I know we're already in a pattern in our practice of where we're probably not going to change too much outside of maybe adding 10 minutes more between patients, because I run one patient at a time. Right. I like that pace. I've done it for years. I've made it work. We are aware that we're going to have to be flexible with people and maybe have different days for different procedures. I used to do that when I used to do a lot of ortho. And one of the discussions we've had is I have a lot of retired clients, which means they're older than me. And I don't know what that meant, but I'm right under that age where they're saying this is a critical thing for the virus. But we're going to have to really make sure they stay safe. And most of it for us is going to be about screening and having a conversation. Todd, you brought that up in our very first Facebook cast, it's about the perception and having that conversation with people. So I'm actually looking forward to going back. I miss it. And yet I know that I'm not going to be working more hours than I usually work. We have to stay healthy too. And I think if people come back and panic and they just try to really make up too soon, they can lose their edge. Yeah. And it's like when I got out of dental school, I just thought I knew it all until I started practicing, right? And most of it was the patient flow. So I think now's the time to slow down, work through the conversations, and not panic about the ROI right at first, and just make sure you get your systems going again.
I think it'll be important, to keep the stress level down.
Yeah.
Especially for team, because, we're all going through a lot of changes right now. And like Juley had said, there's some people that don't have childcare because kids are out. And, I'm very blessed because my children are older. But so kind of we all are going to have different struggles that we're having as we're starting back. And of course, all of the doctors they're not only concerned about their own well-being, they've got 4 or 5 other livelihoods and some more than that. So, I said from the beginning when all of this happened, I have full trust in Dr. Ehrlich. And when he said, nobody knows what's going to happen, but I trusted that we were going to be taken care of one way or the other, and that he would keep me informed throughout the process. So I think having that kind of trust in your doctor as well as in all your teammates, then you just know, okay, everybody's dealing with different things, and let's just take each one and love them where they are right now, because you just don't know what their struggles are. And so slow start and keep the stress level down, because everybody's going to want to do tons of crown preps, and let's get all this in here because we need to generate some income. But I think it's also good to kind of don't stress everybody completely out, right in the beginning. So.
And taking time, I think, when our patients come back into the practice, because they're obviously going to see that we're dressed different.
Right.
Yeah.
And things are done different. So I think taking the time to sit with them and saying, going over their health history, because we haven't seen them on their normal schedule. And do you have any concerns for us? Do you have any, do you want to talk about what we're doing? And one thing I did not do, and I know it's probably against a lot of what people were doing, is I did not, and this all went down, especially in New York, we're here in New York, I did not blast my patients and say, we have always been practicing the safe disinfection control methods. Because for me, we have always been doing that. Why are we telling them that we're doing it? It didn't make sense to me, because I didn't want to put fear in them that we weren't doing things correctly. So,
good point.
I think that's
kind of, started to, they started putting out numbers in our areas, and we finally got, my practice is in a different county, so they only have 39 cases, where at that time they only had 2. We started putting out slow emails that, due to the current situation, this is how we're going to run things. We're canceling this week, and we only canceled week by week by week by week, and that's still what I've done. Yeah. Because I don't know, we don't know, and there's a long list of people that need to get back in. So I didn't want to put fear into them.
Yeah, if I could give any advice to assistants, and this is from my heart, and this is tough because she right here is my assistant. I think as the assistant role, and anybody out there that, assists a doctor, sometimes you have to be the bigger person in the room. Because, we get so focused through our loops, and we're so focused on the detail, and we get frustrated, and things happen, and we may blurt out something because we're frustrated with whatever. It could be our business, it could be our marriage, or it could be whatever. And sometimes we take it out on those we love nearby. And so I would suggest dental assistants be the bigger person through all of this. That now's probably not the time to ask for a raise. Now's the time to be supportive.
And you're out. Don't forget it.
About that.
Look at her shaking her head like, I don't know about that. You're gonna knock that hair right off.
I agree, and it's really easy to kind of be in your feelings. And if they snap at you, it's not the time to just have a complete emotional breakdown. And I'm a super emotional person. I get my feelings hurt very easily. But I completely agree, because there's a lot of different, things that you'll be going through. So just don't take it personally. And, but I also think communication is so big, because I have, I've been in industry 19 years, and I view Dr. Early, it's like a marriage, and it really is. I spend as much time or more time, with him than I do with my own spouse. And if you just hoard and put all these aggravations and feelings down, and you just stack them and stack them and stack them, then it's going to explode in times like this.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're going to take this one personally, Cindy Barbee.
Yes.
Kirsten Glover says, at least I have the bigger hair. So
we need proof. We need proof.
We need proof.
Send you a picture. Proof for sure.
So James,
post it below in the thread. Take a picture, post it below in the thread.
Kirsten, you got to put it in the thread. So just inside joke. We all try to have bigger hair at our huddle meetings, so it's just a Texas thing. So anyway, what do you think, Juley?
Kristen's our hygienist.
I was thinking Cindy has a good point about the whole communication thing, because I think not just with assistants, a lot of team members, not saying you are the dentists that are the ones that are doing things right, but there's some out there that left team members they texted them, we're closed up, don't come back in, but not giving hey, this is our plan, this is what's going to happen, here's the New York State unemployment, this is what I need you to do. So a lot of people were just left with no communication. Some haven't heard from their boss. And this is a time this is a time to reflect on. I always say you should find a dental home. So I was in a practice for 25 years, and then decided to go out and consult and coach and help dental assistants. And then I found another practice that I've been in now for 3.5 years. So you find your dental home, you find your little new family, and you make it. But if it's not working, then you need to divorce and move on. And this might be the time for divorce. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
And it doesn't make either person bad. It just is not the right fit.
Some people don't mesh. Some people don't work, So it's okay right now to evaluate. Do you want to go back into dental assisting? Do you want to go flip burgers? Do you want to go craft and paint like I love to do? I'd love to be a Joanna Gaines full time. Well, I'm not as good as her, so that ain't going to pay my bills.
But, Dr. Ehrlich, the way we actually started our relationship is, and I've always said in my 19 years, I've worked for 3 doctors, because I know what makes me happy and what makes my heart happy. And I know that dentistry is it. And I knew that I always wanted to be a dental assistant. I don't want to do anything else. I love that. But I need also people that fill me up, and, we help each other in a family. And so we've been doing this 90-day working interview thing. So from the time I started, I was like, I think we should do a 90-day working interview, because I'm interviewing you just like you're interviewing me, which is the truth. And it's okay for us to be bold and say that. And so every 90 days, we re-up our 90-day working interview, because we're not sure.
I need a raise.
I think you're on 89.
Hey, Cindy, just so you know, Todd put you on the main screen there, and I was watching him on the Zoom screen connect with that conversation, and it's only for my eyes to see.
Yeah.
Which one is wanting to go? I think we should reevaluate. It changes from time to time, but it's what's worked.
Yeah. Well, so this is what I love about the both of you. You guys are lighthearted. You're positive people. And you are leaders within your practice. And Cindy, I know I joke with you that you're the boss, but in our own small team and our patients, they look up to you. I talk to a patient and you need X, Y, and Z, and the first thing they do is they go,
"Hey, look at Cindy.
What do you think?" So the role,
right. Yeah.
the role that you all play is huge. And so I just really think that assistants, if you're watching out there, be the bigger person through this. Just help this person get along and get the practice rolling again, and then start saying what you need to say, I think. And I think that'll make it a lot smoother for a lot of people.
And I think, your value is what you put in yourself. So if you go into a job and into your office and you feel like you're not good enough or you're not getting paid enough, or, to me, I personally think that's on you. That's not on anybody else in the office. And so if you go in and you're confident and I'm going to learn more and I want to learn this, and feel comfortable asking your doctor questions, there is no stupid question. Ask it and learn so much. And the more value that you build in yourself, the confidence that you'll have when you're sitting chairside and that patient sees that, and you start getting relationships with them and they're trusting you. And, and I think the more you feel that within yourself, you're not going to be questioning during times like this of whether this is the right career. Because I think Juley's not questioned during all of this, as hard as it's been. I just want to get back to work. I mean, I've missed it so much, and never did it cross
and get back to work.
Yeah, to do something else,
and get back to work. Yeah.
So Juley,
I always say that. Well, go ahead. What'd you say?
No, go ahead. You're up.
I was going to say that we also have to be adaptable to change. This is one of the biggest things as assistants. We need to be adaptable to change, because doctors change their mind like they change their underwear.
Yep.
And we have to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna follow that comment.
Yeah.
And we have to learn to take constructive criticism. Now, there's a difference between constructive and non-constructive. But when I first started at 18. And I worked for an old school Italian doctor. I love him, Dr. Copio, if you're listening. I love him. And Dr. Bradford bought his practice. But he would pull me in the office after almost every patient and talk to me about my English. And he threw me a dictionary and said, "You can't talk that way." He's like, "You sound like a hayseed." So,
Geez, what would they think?
He would say it in a nice way. He would say, "You can't say things like that. That's a double negative. Here's a dictionary," but he was so nice. Or we mixed, impression material at this, on a paper pad with a spatula and a base and a catalyst. And he'd be like, "Nope, do it again. Nope, do it again." And I'm like, "The patient's in the chair." I go, "Can you just do it?" "Nope, you're going to do it." So he made me want to be better, but he did it in such a manner that I was like, "Oh, okay with it. You're not being a jerk," so.
Hey, Julia, I got to tell you one thing. I tried to correct a double negative once, and I still can't hear out of this ear. Like the ringing from the smack that I got. So
these things as assistants, we have to take constructive criticism, be adaptable to change. And I always say, if this is not for you, then find something it is, because I truly want to see you in 5 years doing something that you love. Even if it's not dental assisting, if you decide to go to the front office, you decide to be a hygienist, you decide to work at the zoo, I don't care. I just want you to be happy with what you do.
That's right.
Yeah. So Julie, with what you're saying, do you feel like there's going to be a lot of turnover with businesses, or do you think there's going to be more solidification of practices? Like maybe we're getting a little bit tighter as a team. Where do you see it going?
I think there's going to be encompassing everything. I think there's going to be some turnover, some practices that are hiring. I think it's going to have doctors step back and evaluate themselves as a person and how they were running their practice and how did they have the right team in the first place.
Right.
I do think there's going to be a lot of career changes. There might be some hygienists that don't go back into this field, or team members that don't because they're, scared and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be a big circle that's all going to come together and be okay in 6 months. I really think so. we have to figure it out, and you have to figure out what's going to work for your practice and your practice, because what works for your practice might not work for mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to talk religion or anything like that, but I'm a believer, and worry is lack of faith. And I think that no matter where any of us go after all of this, I think there's just a huge plan, for everybody. And I think that we're all going to come out better because of it. And even though we might not see it right now, or maybe we're slowly starting to kind of reevaluate, whether it be time with our family or, just how we love and take care of each other and things like that. I think there's going to be a lot of eye-opening times during all of this, and you can either see them and you can grow from them, or you can just be negative and fail to learn from what's happening. And so I think the ones that decide that they're not going to be in dentistry, that they probably didn't need to be in dentistry anyways, and so they're going to find another path. So it's probably kind of cleaning up a lot of things, and just with emotions and work relationships and home and different things like that. So I really have faith that our country's going to be better eventually. Dentistry will be better. And we just might have a tough time seeing it right this second. But I really do. I think we're all going to come out better because of it. And some of us might not see it until much later than others.
Now, James, go ahead. Go ahead, Juley.
I always think there's always somebody out there that has a worse situation than me.
Oh, absolutely.
Worse family life, worse work life. They work for somebody that, might be a young dentist that he's got millions and millions of dollars worth of debt, didn't have patient load, and he may never open again.
I know.
Or they may not open again. So there's a lot of things that people are worse off than this situation. They might be sick. They might, So I always think that way, that there's someone that's always worse off than me right now.
So what are you going to do with the team members that maybe don't have it as well as you do? What are you going to do to help support them?
Yeah.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead, Juley.
I've been in contact with my team, asking them what they need, especially like with my two hygienists that have kids in the same school, same age, same grades almost. They live in the community, and, I said to them, you tell me, ladies, what you need. Yeah. If you can work Mondays, you can work Tuesdays, you can't work Wednesdays, we're only open 3 days a week. So we'll open the practice Thursdays if you can only, there's my cat.
Oh, I love it. Oh, introduce us.
Yeah, who is that?
This is our new cat, Snickers.
Oh, hang on.
Hello.
Let's see Snickers. Oh.
Let's see Snickers.
Oh. That's it. I'm done. 5 minutes of my showtime. I really, our hygienists are amazing. One's been there 15 years. One's been there 8 years. They live in the community. They know the patients. They love working for Dr. Pugh. And we just have to be adaptable to what they need, The other ones are fine, and we've all been good, but I think you really have to reach out to your team and say, this is what I plan on doing. Is this going to work for you? How can I help you? I've sent them care packages. I've delivered a care package to them, and, just made sure they're okay financially.
So Juley, Dr. Pugh just sent out a shout out to you. You rock, Jules. You rock.
There you go.
Funny.
So,
she does rock.
She does rock. So, Juley, tell me about Jules with the S. I'm confused. Where does that come from?
My grandmother used to call me that, and everybody calls me that. So I just and I was getting a lot of weird friends requests. So I was hoping it would take down my friend requests from people that I don't even know if I didn't have Juley in there. But Jules is just a nickname that everybody calls me. So.
Good enough. So, James, you haven't said much about your team. What do you think? How is your team going to come back, and what are you doing to help with your assistants and your front desk?
We've been in conversation almost every day, just checking in, and they've been very encouraging all the way along. Every time I talk to them, they're saying, we're here to make sure this business gets through and that we have a practice that we can continue serving clients. And I think that attitude goes to the core of with their characters.
Yeah.
And even if you don't feel that way, it doesn't mean you don't have a good character, because we have our good points and then we have our core fears. I'm married to a therapist, and using a downtime is when your core fears come around. And now's the time to identify them and work on them. And I just appreciate them because they've been very supportive and very it's actually helped my heart and my, because inside, and I think you mentioned this, both Cindy and Julie mentioned this, that as a business owner, I have a lot of things going through my brain. I'm thinking about, I'm very future focused. So I'm thinking about, I know how much money I have in various accounts right now, and I know how many line of credits I have, and in California, a lot of the PPPs haven't come through yet, and I won't go into that because that money was rerouted. It was rerouted in our state, which is just crazy. So, I'm still okay, but I'm to that point of where I'm thinking about what I do next, and they come in and just soothe my heart in their supportive nature, and they just both have really good characters. And my hygienist, unfortunately, had surgery on her hand, so she was out a little before we started this shutdown, and I had other hygienists helping me out, which are just great. They fill in every once in a while, but I have found that the character of my team has raised to the occasion in a very, very matured way, and I'm very impressed with that. And we all react differently, and so we don't. As I mentioned in some of the prior webcasts, I have these dreams of emotions that come and go that are melancholy. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of dentists can be more melancholy because we're people pleasers. And talking about us making decisions and shifts all the time, I can tell you early in my career, I was shifting all the time because I was just trying to please everybody. I'm pleasing the front office, pleasing my staff, pleasing my patients, and doing that. And all of a sudden we become this waffle maniac where nobody knows where we're going. Mm-hmm. and when you're in the clinical theater, I always tell people it's an exploratory surgery, right? You're taking an old crown off. You don't know what's going to be underneath that. You have to pivot at the last moment. Brian Tracy said something I heard years ago, and it made a big impact on the choices I made in my current practice. And that is, he says the healthy businesses in the future are going to need to be able to be flexible. They need to pivot on a dime and adapt to the circumstance. That's now. It's always been there, but we are at a point right now where we need to pivot. And that's the message I'm hearing from Julie and Cindy today, is that we're coming back. We're making choices. Everybody needs to make a good choice where they're at. Sorry, am I preaching right now? You got me fired up. And
your bad self.
And the thing is that it's about people. It's about loving people. But, I would suggest to everyone, you search your heart to make sure you're at a place in your life of where your passions can come alive, whether it's in your current circumstances or whether you need to change those. It's not do it. And I think things like this kind of will bring that out. And one thing I've really enjoyed with this series we've done, Todd, is that I've heard all this energy from other people, and I've made a comment where it's rekindled my first love in dentistry. And that was those first few years I got out of dentistry where I could see the future. And I had this dream in my brain about what I wanted to do with my dental life. And when you're in this a long time and you're going through hiccups and you're busy, you can lose that. And I think we all have to come to these terms about making sure we're focused, our passions are staying alive. And most of that is the way we think.
Yeah, so we're getting some really good comments. Let me take over just for a second. How this happened, I don't know, but sometimes our patients watch our programs. One of our patients, Cindy, he's watching somewhere. Steve Rigby says, if you don't change what you do today, all your tomorrows will look like your yesterdays. And I think that's very, very profound. And on that same note, we have a guest coming up actually tomorrow. Dr. Michael Fisher, he's watching. He in that same boat. He says, he's the dude of Ladies Week. By the way,
you're the dude.
He's a good-looking dude.
And he's a good-looking guy. Yeah.
Dr. Fisher says this crisis has been a reset button in many ways, and that is the God honest truth right there. And so, ladies, I think you guys are true leaders in this world, and all the assistants that are out there, you have to look at yourself as the bigger picture or the bigger person in that operatory or in the sterilization, and help get us through this. We need the cogs to start becoming oiled again and not rusty, and you're a major part of that, and we literally cannot do it with you. So help us get through this.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah. Well, and then one last comment, because Dr. Lynn Thomas was on yesterday. She was just an inspiration. She was so good. Yeah, she says there's nothing more important for all of us than to have an invested team heart. And that is the truth. And so any dentists that are watching right now, I'd tell you this. If you haven't been emotionally invested into your team, now's the time to do it, because what's the worst that can happen? You get a little bit emotionally involved with your team members. Well, you can have a little bit of heartache with that, but what you reap out of this is so much more, and they'll be more a part of the team. The cogs will start working together, and there are two people with us today that are true leaders in this industry, and they know how to make this work. So anyway.
Absolutely.
To win a World Series, you're not doing it on your own. You have to have a team. The team is doing it, and and to me, I think tell them what they mean to you. Tell them, because most of us are women, and we need that. We need to know that you care. If you're thinking something, say I appreciate you. Say thanks for all that you're doing, and that means a lot. But it goes for us as well.
Thank you, Cindy.
Your doctor. And I do, and I'm only going to say this because you said it in an earlier one, but I'm very, very thankful, because I have not had to draw unemployment, and Dr. Ehrlich knows my background and how I feel with getting something for nothing. I've worked my whole life for everything that I have, and so the fact that, even though I know it's been a struggle for him, he's continued to pay us throughout this whole thing, and he knows I'm a worrier, and he just always said, Cindy, I'll let you know when to start worrying. So what I did was I just trusted him with that, but I'm very, very thankful that even though, you have struggles as well, and there's a lot of doctors that are struggling and continuing to try to, help their team, and so we are all very thankful for that. So I appreciate you tremendously.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Juley, so Dr. Pugh, what is the plan? Or maybe you haven't gotten this far, I don't know, because in Texas we're a little farther along. What is the plan of attack to get back into the swing of things? Have you guys discussed that at all yet?
Well, May 15th we're on hold till, and we're going to have some rollout phase opening. So I just have to wait for our governor to say that we are non-essential. Now we're essential. And then we'll put up, I think we'll have a good day. I've been making a protocol for everybody in our office. We'll have a good day where the team will come back, and we'll go through all our, our run-throughs, and, how are we checking in patients, and, make sure PPE we have correctly and things are cleaned. I ordered some new chairs for the reception area that can be easily cleaned, because before we had cloth chairs, and, spread them out a little bit because one's a bench seat together, just making sure that everybody knows that, we want to screen our patients, take their temperature, and just so that when we do and can open the way we want to open, then we can do it effectively and not feel like we're not knowing what we're doing, and patients are confused in what direction they're going. So it'll be a slow rollout for us, and we're, like I said, we're not a high volume office. We're in a very farming country town, a lot of apple growers and stuff. So we have a great patient base. We're pretty well one schedule, except for a little bit on the side, and we have 2 full 1 hour per patient for hygiene. So it's not really much we have to change, but I did tell a lot of assistants that always felt burnout because their practices ran 3-4 columns, that you will enjoy going back to your practice and not feeling like you can't go to the bathroom and you can't take lunch. And it might make your boss mind shift a little bit of how he effectively wants to do dentistry, so that he's not burned out and that you're not burned out, because you should never feel burned out.
With that said, our super fantastic patient, Steve Rigby, he's still online. I don't know why he's still around, but he says you have to coach them to be positive. And so I think the message of that is not everybody in the team is going to be, oh, great, we're so excited to be back. Look how fun this is. And, because you may be the positive factor in your practice. The dentist may be the most negative one out of all of them. And they may need you to come into that operatory or the huddle meeting and say, hey, we can do this today. Let's get this going again. Yeah. So,
on that comment just about brain chemistry and, being married to a therapist, I've learned a lot and gone through that journey. But the way you think will affect your emotions. And what we have to be careful is when the emotions are out of control, it affects our thinking. So our critical thinking, we lose that. And science has shown that if you think positively about something, eventually your emotions catch up to that thought process. And I've understood that for years because I can be a little more melancholy because I'm a little more introverted, and even though I like people, I can beat myself up, and I've really had to work on that through the years and not beat myself up about things, and that can affect your brain chemistry. So making life choices and mind processes and thinking, you have to choose to think a certain way. It just you can't always go with your feelings, because if you think a certain way, your feelings will eventually pivot and follow the guide that you're thinking about in your own brain. And we could have a whole talk on this because it's kind of like my journey of life of how I really had to work on myself if I were to be transparent, because thinking is so important. And I've really been blessed today, Juley and Cindy and Todd. All you folks are a blessing to me, and this has been great.
I've really enjoyed all the positivity, to be honest, because, everybody y'all had on has been, it's just really made me smile and just know that the love and passion for it is still out there. So with all of the negative things that we can read right now, and which, I've just seen way too many, every time I've gone, just the smiles. And I'm honored to have been on the same week as the Epic ladies. I mean, those ladies were killing it.
I was like, what? This is crazy.
I just loved it. And so just their upbeat and positivity, it is still out there. So we just got to all
Juley and Cindy, you know what we need are epic assistants. That's what we need.
How close are you to Rice University?
Houston's about 3-4 hours away.
Yeah. What the heck?
Well,
my son wants to go.
It's a little far away, but yeah, no, you girls are just as epic as the ladies we've had, and we really appreciate you being on. And
thank you, Dad.
Cindy, you and we've got to get back to work. We got to start working on these people because they've got,
I'm so excited.
So any of the assistants out there, be like these people over here, and be the leader, be the positive impact. Don't be the complainer. Just if you are the complaining type, just bite your tongue for a little while and get through this, and it'll be better.
Yeah.
All right,
it's about commitment. Juley and Cindy, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being on. You've been a blessing. I'm proud of both of you folks.
Yes, but before you go, we're almost to 500 hearts. So I got you guys.
I like it, people.
You got to just at least give us a few more, and then we'll wrap it up. So
they're coming out.
Maybe I need to text my mom and say, "Come on, Mom."
Yes.
I'll do it.
Yeah, we need Debbie on. We got to get. Thank you guys. You guys are a blessing so much. And
thanks so much.
James Clem, just awesome. It's the team members are our support. We can't do it without them. And so, what do you think it's going to be like for them when they get back?
I think it's going to be different for every area of the country, and we've talked about that. And I think what we have to do, since we're living in the unknown, is be willing to be flexible and pivot when you need to. Look for a place you can help. Look more about digging deep in your heart and keeping a positive frame in your mind, and communicate. I think transparency is another one. And I heard that today. I heard a lot about transparency and being true to yourself, being true to your process. And then if you do need to communicate in an honorable way. And, you know, that's the journey of life, because anytime you're close to someone and the guards are let down, you can communicate in ways, because we're all human. We all respond in emotional ways. And my staff have forgiven me many times, you know, and I have forgiven them. You know, the team I have right now been with me for years. And it's true. Cindy mentioned that we spend a lot of time together, probably more than with our primary family. And plus we're in this environment where we're tending to clients that we know we have great clients, but, you know, there's probably a little bit of amygdala energy going on in them where they're nervous, and then we pick that energy up. And so we're almost like on Showtime sometimes, where you have to dig a little deeper and lift your patients up. There's some days I go home and I'm emotionally exhausted, yet I'm very blessed. And that's part of what dentistry is. So if you have that environment, I can tell you our team members are heroes, because they work in an environment of where they're working with detail, they have to multitask, then they're working with clients that they have to soothe, because that's the nature of our profession, and they're making sure that we're on task. I don't even know how they do it. I think they're super people, and we need to look at it in that mind frame, because we have a great profession, but you have to use all quadrants of your brains to make it work. And what I learned through the years was learning to let go, because when I try to micromanage that, it was nothing but chaos in my own head. And it's our team members that make that difference. So, you know, just work through it. Any relationship that is of worth takes effort, right?
Amen.
A good marriage. My dad always say, you work at a good marriage. Why do you work at a good marriage? Well, the reason why is because you never know what's going to come around the next corner, and you work through that transparency of loving one another, and then you get deeper at it. And the same thing happens in the office. But people need to be true to themselves also, to make sure that they feel like they're in a good fit. Juley mentioned that, and I thought that was really, really a poignant point.
I think if there's any dentist out there, any specialists, doctors, I think the take-home message of this right now is be a little tender, be a little bit nicer coming back. Yes, you have these debts you've got to get, you've got your loans to get, and then we're stressed about everything. But you know what? Our team members have equal amount of stress, maybe even more so, because they're having a hard time making a car payment or something like that.
We need to write a song about tenderness. Dig to the deep. I don't sing well, but I just got.
No, I think I got more hearts right there than I've got the entire video. In fact, I think you ought to take it away there, Clem, with tenderness. Maybe a little bit of Elvis. Do you do Elvis as well?
No, I don't do Elvis, but I'm a musician, but I haven't been exercising that much lately.
Yeah, you're a good bass player. All right, let's wrap it up. All my friends, thanks to Cindy and Juley for coming around. Make sure you check out Dental's. Yes, tomorrow. So we've got the dude. Michael Fisher and Marissa Ziderick. They've got a great story. They've both been in both of our classes, so we know them extremely well. And they built this big, gigantic practice, beautiful building, and then the virus hit. And so you talk about two incredible leaders in dentistry that you may have never met before. You're going to meet them tomorrow, and they're going to inspire you.
And I've met them, and they're both incredible clinicians, but more than that, they're incredibly good people. I mean, when you're with them, you just feel like you want to be around them, because you feel there's a connection. And I'm looking forward to it, but I do want to go visit their new facility. In fact, it'd be fun, Todd, to go and do a program there.
Let's do it. I'm sure they'd be open to it. They're good people. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thank you, James. Thank you, girls.
Love you guys. Stay safe. Think good thoughts, and love the people you're around.
Wash those hands.
Wash the hands. Yeah.